Welcome, everybody. I'm really excited. Today I have Satsunder Khalsa here with me, and we are going to talk about blood flow restriction technology. Is that the right
Blood
name?
flow restriction training.
Training,
Yeah.
but it is pretty cool technology.
Well, blood flow restriction has been used in the orthopedic field.
Okay.
So there's some very elaborate equipment that is being used that's expensive.
Mhm.
And in fact, when I brought this up with a friend of mine who's my retired chiropractor, he had broken his ankle. And
Mhm.
when I mentioned this to him, he was excited about it because he had surgery on the ankle. And then they started doing all this stuff, and he was able to heal his ankle in about a third of the time of that it would normally have taken. So that's
Okay.
been one of the
It's
applications.
similar to this, the general principle.
General
of the thing.
principle,
Okay.
yes, which is
Cool.
to lower the amount of oxygen that is going into particular muscles,
Mhm.
and that creates more buildup of lactic acid, which increases the nitric oxide flow,
Mhm.
which actually works as it's like rocket fuel for your circulation.
Got it.
And so those benefits really help for the healing process, help with preventing atrophy, which is really cool. So, and how this technology came about was discovered by a Dr. Sato in Japan in
Okay.
1966.
Okay, so not yesterday. It's been around
Right,
a little while.
So he was a meditator, and he
Mhm.
used one of these little meditation planks or boards or
Okay.
whatever. And he noticed that he had some calf issues. And he noticed that when he got up from meditation, that his calves felt better. And then so he started putting two and two together. And then he had a skiing injury, broke his ankle, and started applying bands on the leg that got injured.
Mhm.
And by doing this, he was able to resolve the issue again with no atrophy in about 25 to 30% of the time normally
Yeah.
done. At that point, then he started trying to refine it more, and then shared it with different athletes, and ultimately made it to the Olympic level athletes in Japan. So
Nice.
they're about 10 to 15 years ahead of where we are in the United
So
States.
initially they were just using it for injury,
Correct.
and then now it's moved into, can you talk a little bit about how you're using it now?
Well, it's after the athletes in Japan started using it, they were breaking all sorts of personal records and team records and historic records. And of course, especially the amateur athletic world, was all these concerns about doping and
Right.
people wondering what's going on, why they're having such success. There's a doctor, Jim Gray Gunderson, who went to Japan. He's an Olympic trainer,
Mhm.
and he just started seeing what they were doing and discovered this.
Yeah.
And so he tried it himself, was amazed by the results, and then he brought it back here and started working with the Olympic level athletes, a lot of professional skiers and people like that. The results that they had were just remarkable. So the science behind this is what you're doing is by restricting the blood flow, and you're basically restricting the venous blood flow.
Mhm.
So if normally the blood flow is flowing at a speed like this,
Right.
when you apply the bands, and I'll put the band on here in a minute, is that what you're doing is you're slowing it down. Okay. So it's not impacting the arterial blood flow. It's not an occlusion.
Mhm.
So you still have.
Which would be a block.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Correct, yeah. So you have the slower flow of the blood. It causes the oxygen within the muscles to get used up more quickly,
Mhm.
which creates a buildup of lactate or lactic acid. And this creates a burn in the muscle.
Mhm.
And the burn in the muscle is what stimulates the brain to release nitric oxide, and then ultimately an increase in the flow of human growth hormone from the pituitary gland.
So lactic acid isn't bad.
Lactic acid is not bad.
Okay,
And
it's good in this context.
it dissolves real
Okay.
quickly. It's not like, a lot of people
So I
think,
always think about being sore when I hear about.
and actually that usually the soreness is actually from the micro tearing of
I see.
muscles.
Okay.
So what's happening is by using this technology, you're creating the changes in the musculature, but you're not doing it mechanically, you're doing it on a metabolic basis.
Okay.
Because it's sending signals to the brain, and the brain
Right.
is in this way you can get hypertrophy of the muscles as well. And you're just way more efficient in everything that you're doing. So in the time that a person would normally work out, let's say it's a 45-minute or an hour workout.
For you, it's 2.5 hours.
It was two.
Workouts used to be.
And now my workouts are 5 to 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
And I've gotten better results, changing my body composition, less fat tissue, more muscle, lean muscle tissue, and overall sense
Well,
of.
you look incredibly fit, and
Okay.
it's hard to believe, it's a 10-minute,
Right.
15-minute workout a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and historically, I've been involved in practicing yoga for
Right.
55 years. And I used to be a runner until my body said, can't do
No,
that
thank
anymore.
you.
And then I got more into resistance training.
Yeah.
And but this has been the most profound thing that I've experienced. And I've used other types of what's the word? Biohacking
Right.
technologies.
Before that was a term, probably.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing, I used to work with different magnetic things, again, based out of Japan. I've worked, and I still do use PEMF, pulsing electromagnetic field, technologies. I work with, some biophotonic, photobiomodulation
Whoa, that is
technologies
some.
to activate stem
So you're
cells.
not scared to try something new?
No, I'm totally open. And some things I found that don't work.
Yeah, and speaking of you being willing to open or try new things, that's how we met, everybody. So Satsunder came to one of my yoga hikes. I think you were at the first
I was.
one. Yeah. So I'm running those in Boulder, like community yoga hikes through Meetup. And so that's how we met. And I've been hearing about this, and today I actually tried it right before we started recording, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like almost a little floaty.
Yeah.
But in a good way, that feels good. Yeah.
Traditionally, when you work out, because again, it is important to do vigorous exercise. And traditionally, when you're doing that, when you finish your workout, a lot of times you're just exhausted. You're tired.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, when you work out for 2.5 hours.
Even if not that
Even
long.
normal ones, yeah.
Okay. But when you're doing blood flow resistance training, at the end of your workout, you're actually energized.
Yeah.
And that stays with you. So
do you have a scientific, because I know you like to talk about the science.
Well, I don't have a science
Okay.
back. I don't have a.
No, I mean, like, what's the rationale behind why you're energized?
Well, because you're not tearing the muscles, for one thing. You're not micro tearing the muscles.
So your body's not going into repair mode, maybe.
Exactly, and you're getting that increase in nitric oxide, which is rocket fuel for your circulation. So you're just massively increasing your circulation. At the end of your workout, that's when the human growth hormone kicks in. And the results of using this technology, you can have, it's been studied 25 times not 25%, but 25 times the amount of human growth hormone.
Wow.
Human growth hormone is the master hormone in the body. And actually HGH and nitric oxide are the two most important compounds that are actually produced within the body. The pituitary gland is sitting there. It's just waiting to be released, but it needs the signal from the muscles in order to release it.
Okay.
So
how did you get it? How did you hear about this?
Okay.
And when did you hear about it?
about 3 years ago, I think it's about 3 years ago, there's
not that long ago.
yeah, there's a doctor who I've been following for about 15 years named Dr. Joseph Mercola. And he
Okay.
has a almost daily broadcast
Okay.
that he does, and in articles
Mhm.
that I get emails from him. And
Okay.
and in Japan, this technology is called Katsu.
Okay. That
And
sounds
yeah,
easier to say.
yeah. Or BFR.
Yeah.
And then, so he demonstrated it and he talked about it. And yeah, it's sort of one of those things that just sort of like sat in my brain.
Mhm.
I said, that looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then a little over a year ago, I was visiting with a friend of mine who's the chiropractor in Los Angeles. And we went out for a walk in the morning and he put these bands on his arms with little, like 1.5 pound weights.
Mhm.
And as we're walking, he's doing this and he says, I don't do any lifting. And his arms were
Really?
huge.
Wow.
He said, this has just been amazing. I said, is this the same technology that
Right.
Dr. Mercola? He says, yeah. He says, I happen to be friends with him. My wife has a
Small
house,
world.
has a house a mile and half away from his house.
So did you get to go to his house?
No,
Oh.
no, that's in Florida.
Do you hear that, Dr. Joe?
So then a few months after that, some friends of mine in another business venture that I'm in, they sent me some videos and talking about this. And one of the gentlemen is a 70-year-old person who's really into pickleball.
Oh yeah, my mom
Okay.
really into pickleball.
So he was talking about how his reaction time had increased so much, his endurance increased. And then he said, besides that, I haven't lost any weight, but I've had to buy new clothes because my pant size went down 2 inches. My waist size went down 2 inches. And then another friend of mine who was a holistic nurse, who's a very serious cyclist. And she said, the only thing she said to me, she said, this is an absolute game changer.
Okay.
So at that point, after looking at this information and then connecting with the company that I work with, which is called B3 Sciences, and tuning into a bunch of Zoom calls and just going onto our website and reading as much as I could, I said, I definitely want to try this out.
Right.
Unfortunately, at the time that I ordered the bands, there was a supply chain issue, so I had to wait 3 weeks because I was.
We all remember that.
So I have this tremendous desire to want to use the bands, but I wasn't able to get them, so I had to wait 3 weeks. And then I got them and I started doing it. And I think my tendency is, try and overdo things a little bit at the beginning. But I was pretty good about it because my friend Judy in California said, yeah, she said she went at it a little too hard.
Okay.
And so I started using them on a daily basis. And the results I had were just amazing. I mean, when I would walk by the mirror in the morning, go, do something different, which was kind of fun.
I remember you saying my love handles were a little less lovely. I really liked that. Yeah.
So so it's been fun. And the nice thing about this technology is that, yes, you can follow prescribed routines, but you can also do things, on your own routines. You can put these bands on, go for a walk your dog, and you're going to get improved benefits from that. While you're walking, you can do some lunges or some squats. If you go up and down hills, backwards and forwards, up and down stairs. So I've done a couple of routines that are on our app, some yoga practices.
Oh, nice.
And it was like a 20-minute practice and it kicked my butt the first time I did it.
Yeah.
And using the bands.
Okay.
So the results I've had have just been fantastic. And we do not advertise per se, but this is shared person to person through like an affiliate program.
Oh, okay.
And
so you're like a rep for the company and you
and
distribute for them.
Yeah, then I share with other people, and if they want to buy them, it's like I don't stock inventory.
Okay.
But people, if I'll share this with people like I shared with you a little earlier today. Could be, explain information, send them to the website, look at some videos, and then if they'd like to try this, then I I'm delighted to put them through a little routine like we did this
Okay.
morning, because it's just like, you can talk about yoga all day long,
Yeah.
but until you do it, or
Totally.
anything else, you don't know what it
Yeah.
means.
Yeah, totally.
So,
So now that we did the little routine, how do I get the bands? Do I have to wait 3 weeks?
no.
Okay.
Usually about a week.
So I would order them, I'm gonna order them through you?
My website,
Through
yes.
okay, so you'll give me the website,
Yeah.
I'll order them,
Mhm.
and then a week later.
Yeah,
They'll
then they
show
show
up at my
up.
house.
Yeah, and then,
Okay.
and what's nice about what we're doing, because there are several different people that offer blood flow restriction bands.
Okay.
B3 Science is the bands that we have, and I'll,
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
show them and
Yes.
walk people through them.
yeah, so this is what it looks like. It has multiple air chambers in here, and it's flexible. So what you do is you, for the arm, you would put this on. And let's see. Yeah, then you put it on, tighten it up. And then you pump it up with this little pump that comes with it. You insert this into that, and then you pump it up to the recommended pressure, which is printed on the strap of the band, and then you proceed to do your workout. And usually, depending on how hard you work at it, within 30 seconds, you're starting to feel a burn in the
Oh,
muscle.
yeah, I definitely was feeling it,
Yeah,
and
and-
by 7 minutes, I was sweating, and the bands were sweaty when we took them off, yeah.
So, it doesn't take a long time, but the whole secret is the more time that you spend in the burn, that's the more nitric oxide you're releasing, and the greater the flow of the human growth hormone. And so that's the exciting part about it. So it's easy to use. The first couple times, you fumble a little bit trying to put it on, but once you do that, it's real quick. So, things that I do, I'm really like to do rebounding, with a mini trampoline, because there's so many wonderful benefits from that. So I'll put the bands on my legs when I do that. When I go to the gym, which I used to go 3 times a week, now I go about once a week. And I like to go on the elliptical machine, and I used to do a 25-minute workout on that, high intensity workout. Now my workout is about 6 or 7 minutes. I have the bands on my arms and on my legs, and I'm feeling that burn within 30 seconds.
Right.
And so I try and maintain, that burn. I can do different routines, and we even have on our app, we have routines for how to do rebounders, how to do, yoga, how to do elliptical machines, any type of thing that you want.
So, can I hide the bands if I wear loose clothing? Can I wear them under my clothing, or
You
it's over the
probably
clothing?
could, yeah, but
Okay.
but again, you're not
Yeah,
wearing them, you're not.
If I were vain, or I just didn't want to deal with people asking me questions, I could wear loose clothing over it,
Yeah.
or would it rub? Is it better over?
It can be worn directly on the skin,
Okay.
or it can be worn on clothing.
Okay.
It's personal preference. But again, you're not walking around town with the bands on.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
not yet.
Yeah. So one of the things that we have is these, when a person buys our bands, they also get these different resistance tubes, and they go from 10 to 30 pounds in
Mhm.
5-pound increments. So you can do things where
Mhm.
when you have the bands on, you can do chest exercises, you can do tricep
Or like
exercises.
I did, I stood on it today,
Right,
yeah.
So what you're doing is you're not micro tearing the muscles.
Right.
And so this creates more flexibility. One of the other things that you talked about is the obstacles that people have to working out, because people know that they need to work out. And as we get older, you have to have more muscle mass, because that's what, prevents all the deleterious effects of aging.
Breaking a hip or
Exactly,
osteoporosis,
correct.
falls, not being able to play with your grandkids.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the beauty of this is that for a young mother, let's say, where do you have time to work out?
You don't.
Well, the fact is, you can do something for 5 to 10
Yeah.
minutes. The kid's taking a little bit of a nap, you can get a 5-minute
Right.
workout in, and
Yeah,
you're gonna get great results in that 5 minutes.
yeah,
So you can fit it in for people that have been injured from lifting, Because you do need resistance training.
Yeah.
But people who've been injured, this will prevent, you don't get any type of connective tissue or joint issues with this. In fact, we have, our company we've sold about 50,000 sets of bands,
Okay.
and there's no reports of anybody being injured, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So you have that aspect. You talking about you were playing volleyball. What's cool is kids can use these, because this is like from 8 to 90 years old. Because young children, a lot of times they want to build up their muscles, but they can't use heavy weights because their bony plates are not fully developed. So they can actually use the bands successfully. And then in terms of playing volleyball or basketball, what we're finding is that a lot of our young athletes are able to increase their standing jump, 6 to 12 inches, which isn't, to make the difference between making a shot or not making a shot or getting the ball over.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Slam dunk.
Exactly. So, so we do have a lot of kids using this. Right now we have, I think it's about 8 or 9 of the different US Olympic teams are using the bands. There's dozens of professional sports teams, people like LeBron James uses them.
Definitely gaining a lot of traction.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it can, the bands can be used before a workout as like a warm up. It can be used as a finisher at the end of a workout. Again, to get that, get the flow going.
Yeah, that's one question I had. So today we did legs with like squats, lunges, and then we did arms, like biceps, triceps. And at the end I did plank for a minute. So you don't have blood flow restriction around your abdomen, which is probably a good thing, since all your organs are there. If I were to do those exercises that target those muscles, they wouldn't necessarily be able to get the benefit of
well, they get the benefit from the bands just by putting on when you put the bands on the arms, it impacts the entire upper body, so it works
your whole circulatory system,
the whole area through here. So it's not just this one area here.
Okay, so the kind of increase in muscle mass with not necessarily equivalent movement, with less movement than you would have under normal conditions, you could still see that in like your shoulder muscles.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wonderful, because it's still affecting the chemical.
Exactly.
pathway.
You can do something, with the band, let's say for shoulders, where you step on this band and then just do things like this, or overhead presses.
So it's not like I'm gonna then have to go to the gym and lift heavy weights for my shoulders and do a ton of ab work to make up for the fact I'm not just gonna have ripped arms or in my case, it's a ballooning torso, not a withering torso. Okay, so it's a systemic improvement.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Also the fact that, for blood sugar balancing, because you're using up the available glycogen that's in the muscles more quickly, by also at the same time using the oxygen more quickly. So it can help with lowering, balancing blood sugar. We've had people balancing their blood pressure. The release of human growth hormone has a million might be an exaggeration, but tons of downstream impacts. So it increases the flow of the increase of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, which increases the circulation in the brain. It has an impact on the thyroid gland. So we've had many people that have been able to get off of their thyroid medication. It increases the flow of insulin growth factor from the liver from the HGH, and that can increase the different chemicals in the body that actually remineralize bones. So we've done some studies on bone density. So all of these things have been double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. Lots of
I love those. I love those kind of studies. And we'll put the link in the the recording notes so that people can, the scientists like myself, or scientifically minded can look at those studies for
absolutely
themselves.
No, we want people to do their own due diligence on this, but the information is out there. It's not just It's not something that was invented in somebody's back room.
This isn't snake oil?
No.
Okay, it seems a little too good to be true, but I'm gonna try out the bands.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna document it, so all of you watching can
Yeah.
come with me on my journey and see
Yeah.
how it goes. So I know that peripheral neuropathy is also common in cancer patients with an effective chemo.
Mhm.
And you mentioned that a contraindication is lymphedema. Lymphedema?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you have had your lymph nodes removed, you don't want to use the bands near where those lymph nodes were
Yeah,
removed.
that would be more in a mastectomy situation.
Yeah, or I had like my father had bladder cancer, so he's had the lymph nodes in his legs removed. So then he would probably just
So the beautiful thing about this is that if you have, let's say, on the lower extremity, some sort of health challenge, you can still do the workouts using the upper body and the nitric oxide and the HGH. So you're getting a systemic effect.
Because I would assume, and I don't know this, but maybe somebody can check me on this. I would assume that I don't know that the peripheral neuropathy from chemo, if it's like tends to be associated also with where you had your lymph nodes removed.
That I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we'll have to look into that and report. But I guess it doesn't really matter because they could still benefit even if they were only able to use it on a couple
So as I say, we've had people that have been, wheelchair bound. And what we can do workouts with them, and just a 1 minute workout where we put the straps, the bands on their upper thighs, have somebody assist them in standing up and sitting down and standing up and sitting down. And even in 1 minute, out of that 1 minute, they're going to get a 30-second burn in the muscle. And some of those people within a few days or a week or two are able to stand up on their own. We've even had people been able to start walking again. So obviously there's severe nerve damage, that's not
on the situation.
Exactly, yeah. So there's really no limitation on what you can do with this. The idea is find something that's fun for you to do. And then do it.
I know that's what I always what I realized. I had heard this and it really resonated with me, which is that the best workout is the one you'll do.
Correct.
So it doesn't really you just need to move your body, and so ideally it's something fun. And so that really resonates with me because I could put these on while I'm doing yoga or hiking or walking the dog. I don't have to do a weight training exercise.
While you're cleaning the house, you can wear them.
Okay, well, I do a lot of that, a lot of picking up things, which is kind of like squats.
Exactly. So, the whole idea is just to keep the body moving.
You can fold into what I'm already
incorporate it into your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Whatever that lifestyle happens to be.
Yeah.
It really is one of the most, of all the biohacking things that I've done, this has been the best. And I still do infrared saunas. I still use PEMF. You didn't stop doing all the. It's sort of it's like, how can I compound and get the best results?
Totally. But intermittent fasting, we talked about.
Yes. So with all the different things that I'm doing, this has probably been the most profound. And it's something that you don't have to wait a few weeks because as you experience, you feel it right away.
I like that.
And that, and it's just something that makes us feel more alive when we feel that blood moving through our bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing I think you were going to mention earlier, but we got excited and sidetracked, was about the technology, how you mentioned there's a couple different types of bands on the market, but these might be a little different.
There's some that are you can go into Amazon and buy something inexpensively.
Okay.
The problem that you have is many of them will just occlude the blood. Okay. So you're stopping the blood flow completely, which is not helpful.
That's a tourniquet.
You got it.
Right.
Okay. So the bands that we have, this is a patented technology. They are narrow. they're flexible.
Okay.
And because of the multi-air chambers that are in them,
Mhm.
when you pump them up, so it's just like a gentle squeezing, it's not a restriction.
Do you want to show the multi-chambers? I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see it in the video, but.
It's, yeah, well, hopefully you can see it
Yeah,
here.
so there's like individual.
Little individual pockets. And those will, it gives you a whole general hug
Yeah.
on the area, and actually you can feel them when you're pumping up, that
Mhm.
it's not in any way uncomfortable. If you pump it up too much, if you, let's say you're doing your arms, then it would be, you wouldn't have, you'd be
Range of
restricted in
motion.
your movement, and it's
Yeah.
not, the whole idea is to feel good while you're doing this. And hey, when you're working out, it's,
Yeah, it feels,
you-
it's work,
It's-
they call it working out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it felt like a workout. I think it wasn't, definitely not as strong as like a blood pressure cuff or
Yeah, okay.
the grocery store where it like really clamps down on you.
Right.
This wasn't like
No,
that.
those
It
are
was like
wide
kind of
and
like
they're wide and they're rigid. This is
Yeah.
narrow and flexible.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of what we're doing here.
It's pretty fun. I'm really excited to be trying these out and sharing,
Yeah.
my experience with everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Oh,
This
my
has been
pleasure.
a lot of fun.
Oh, it has been. No,
Yeah.
I enjoyed this. It's,
Okay.
again, it's a real joy to be able to share something that is empowering to people, for them to empower themselves.
All right. Well, thank you, Satsunder, and
Okay.
bye, everybody.